Hello Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to my channel, Tarot by the Intuitive Teacup. We're going to read your tarot cards here today. So please come into this reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to learn something or better yourself. If the messages that come through don't resonate for you, that's completely fine. That will happen sometimes. I encourage you to push the messages aside. Don't take action on anything that feels strange or foreign. But you may want to revisit the messages at a later date. Sometimes they'll make more sense for you in the future. So just be open to that. That's what I would advise. You are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. This is, of course, optional advice, guidance, and energy check-in. But that being said, let's set the intention to try and get you some helpful, insightful messages. Let's look at your bottom of the deck first. We have the Queen of Wands. It's interesting, this depiction of her. I don't know if you can see that. She's winking. I feel like this is a sign from the universe that everything is right. Everything is as it should be. I feel like there's some sort of sign or message where the universe keeps sending it to you and it's starting to click. You're starting to notice a specific sign or symbol or color or number that's following you. And it's something that brings you peace of mind because it's a reminder that there's an order to the universe, that there's some form of higher power, whatever you believe in, right? Looking out after you and sort of leaving you this breadcrumb trail. So even though you may have, trials and tribulations, challenges, turbulence, however you want to say it, you are receiving messages from the divine that you're on the right path. And there's something about it that it allows you to sort of exhale a little bit. It allows you to smile. And I'm just sort of getting this idea of a wink from the universe. Some of you may feel very connected to an ancestor who has passed, and possibly someone you never met. But for most of you, I'm getting an aunt or an aunt, however you say that word. I always say aunt. It's the idea of being connected to someone in your family who is no longer here in the 3D. It feels like they have sort of assumed this role of like your guardian angel or something like that. And so there may be some message or sign or communication from them. It wouldn't be spooky or scary, right? It's sort of just this nice little confirmation that you're not alone. I like that. That feels like a really pleasant message to start with. So right smack in the middle of your reading here, we have the Five of Swords. How do I put the pieces back together? That's sort of what I'm hearing from this. Things are a bit shaky. They're in disarray. Things, I'm using this very loosely, but it feels like something has fallen apart and now you're sort of left with the task to rebuild or restructure or fix it in some capacity. So you have the Ace of Swords and the Sun. So for some of you, you may be getting word on a creative project, and there may be notes. There may be some critique or some suggestions on how to fix it or tailor it, or that may in fact be your responsibility. It could even be for a piece of writing, likely something for you guys that is a little bit more on the creative side of things. But it might not, like there may be an enjoyable part of it that is creative, but there's something about sort of like the structure and the category and the shape and the form of it. You're being asked to like restructure it or edit it in some capacity. And you might sort of be feeling out of gas or just a little bit stumped or kind of like, okay. Don't take it personally, right? It's not necessarily a reflection on you or what you've created. It's just simply the powers that be, or, whoever holds the key into whatever door you're trying to access, right? There's a little bit of pushback there. So some of you may choose to go off in a different direction if you have the power to do so. I don't know if you're a writer and you're looking to get published. It's possible that, and use this as a metaphor, guys, right? But the idea that if you're looking to get published with a certain company and they're saying, not unless you fix X, Y, and Z, if those are matters of principle and, you're not willing to budge or give on that, if you're inflexible on those certain points, then you have no other choice than to pursue another outlet, right? Go with another publisher. So in metaphor, right, there could be some sort of circumstance where you're at a crossroads of, am I fixing this for me or am I fixing it for someone else? And do I agree with the suggestions or the critique or the changes being made? there could be a creative differences, differing of opinions that ultimately sort of set the course or the path or the destiny for you to go in another direction. And to be honest, guys, the more I look at this, I actually see that being a little bit more beneficial to you all. It's not to say that all of you will choose to go the alternative route, but for someone who's a little bit more independent or entrepreneurial, there's a new connection that is much stronger, and your values, your goals, your ideas, your thoughts are just much more in sync and in tune together. So maybe this translates for you in a relationship, right? Maybe you're with a partner who is asking a lot of you and demanding that you change certain aspects of your life if you want this relationship to grow and thrive. And, initially you might be like, okay, I really like this person, maybe I love this person, maybe I do need to fix myself. But I don't know, I'm sort of getting this idea that when you kind of step back and sort of look at their requests and what they're demanding, depending on what they're asking you to change, it may suit them, but it doesn't necessarily suit you. I don't know if you're being asked to change or morph or sacrifice or transform aspects of yourself or your personality that are very, very important to you. And it could just be that you're not with a person who's compatible in the long term. It doesn't make them right. It doesn't make them wrong, and vice versa. It doesn't make you right or wrong. It just simply I just feel that there is some sort of exchange here, this back and forth where these people are no longer on the same page. They want and desire different things. That being said, it seems very amicable in terms of something that may come to an end, a relationship that maybe just you decide to be friends. And the thing is, I think you actually genuinely want that. Though this person might not be as open-minded to staying friends. If it's business related, it could be that, your supervisor, your boss, your mentor, your client, it's just kind of like this shake hands and wish each other well. And that's that. It's, it's not this like dragged out crazy feud or fight. With the Sun and the Two of Cups here, I actually think there's a really strong spark and connection with someone else. It could be with another Virgo, it could be with a Scorpio, it could be with a Pisces, a Leo, maybe a Cancer. There's several other signs coming through with that, so just putting that out there. I don't know what this has to do with the previous message, but we might be moving on. There could be unexpected news of pregnancy. If it's not in your life, Virgo, it may be someone around you. This is a very sensitive message and very specific, so it's not for everyone. But earmuffs, if you're sensitive, this could trigger someone out there. I do sort of get the idea that someone who may have gone through the loss of a child or a miscarriage, similar to our message earlier, there's this beautiful energy of feeling like this person still makes connection with you spiritually. And so it is a beautiful message, but it feels like very tender. It feels like a very sensitive topic. So I'm just putting it out there as a reminder and as only meant to bring you comfort and peace and faith, really, that life does go on in other forms, even though we can't see someone physically here in the 3D. I'm just getting the idea of a child that they're part of your spirit team. They're one of your spirit guides. And maybe it's a sibling, right? Maybe someone out there lost a sibling when they were very young, or a cousin, or a baby sister, whatever it is for you. I just get the idea that there's a child in spiritual form that checks in with you. And it feels really beautiful and cute. I hope that's not taken as something ominous or spooky. That's not what it's meant to do. Something about that message, though, also has to do with finding a strong connection in love and romance. You could meet someone who has the same name as one who has passed, not necessarily recently, but whoever this spirit guide is, who's, I'm going to say younger. It doesn't have to be a child, but, teenager, that, someone who was taken from this earth relatively early in life. Something about their name or something very specific about a facial mark, a birthmark, something distinguished on their face. It could be the same color eyes, but it's even more specific than that. I don't know. That may be reflected back to you in a partner that you meet and may form a lifelong friendship with them, if not something more. It's very interesting. All right, moving on. Let's see. So if you do choose to sever off or end a relationship with someone, career-wise, friendship-wise, romantic relationship-wise, you have the responsibility to not carry around the burden of guilt, of looking back and wondering and being like, oh, did I make the right decision? Should I have gone through with that? Those critiques that they were offering me, maybe I shouldn't have been so stubborn. Maybe I should have, been more flexible, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't matter what you do. Ultimately, the choice is up to you. But if you are going to branch out and try the alternate path, the road less traveled, or just simply looking for a new connection that feels more aligned, the universe is reminding you that that's your decision. So stick to it. Stick to your guns. Be confident in your choices. Don't have this wavering sense of, oh, well, I don't want to disappoint anyone. It's like people pleasing energy, right? Stand your ground. Stand true to your beliefs. And that's important. I'm just getting the idea of like the Sagittarian energy of your principles, your ethical code, what you stand behind, your morals. Now more than ever, we need to really lean into that and with that honor who we are and what we want and what our path is, versus catering to other people's agendas or, their thought process and what they want and desire from us. That's not necessarily what we want and desire from ourselves. So with that, it's just like done and dusted. Some relationships are not meant to last. Some relationships are not going to be key players in your life throughout the whole novel, right? Sometimes they just make an appearance in a chapter and that's that. So I think it is about cutting cords, releasing yourself of baggage, and again, the burden of guilt or shame or regrets. Nope, we're not going to do that, Virgo. That's just a simple reminder. All right, some of you, it feels like there's a nagging energy around you that you're trying to get away from. I don't know if it's a fire sign. There's a couple messages coming through. And I honestly don't know which one to go with. I'm sort of getting the idea of some of you who have children, one or both of, probably one of your children, or if you have two, right? I don't know. There's a child energy here that is very needy right now, but in a way where they need constant stimulation. There may be something tied to that, like medically, right? They could have ADD or something like that. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but more recently than not, they've become very codependent on you sort of, being the three-ring circus for them. It's like they constantly need you and want your time and attention and, look at this and read me this book and blah, blah, blah. There might need to be a better line drawn in the sand in terms of the energy that you expend. Obviously, parenting is non-negotiable, right? But better boundaries in terms of like, it's bedtime, it's 8 o'clock, this is what we're doing, and we have to stick to it. I just sort of see you, obviously it's your child, right? You'd walk to the end of the earth for them. You want to make them happy, but I see them sort of disregarding some rules and regulations of the household that, you just have to set in place. And despite their whining or crying or pleading and begging with you, it could even be like wanting to sleep in your bed, right? Past an age where maybe that's appropriate, whatever. And who knows what that is, right? Parenting, it can be very different. I'm not here to comment on that per se, but the general message is setting firmer boundaries and sticking to them rather than waving and being too flexible and just, oh, okay, we'll talk about it another time. Tough love. You need to practice better tough love, especially for my females out there. I'm hearing you got to be a tough mama. One tough mama. All right. There's also a message here. Okay, there's two messages. Something with a Cancerian or a Leo in terms of love and romance. It has a 2 of Cups vibe, which I like, but there's also a secret keeper in this relationship too. Something about, I'm hearing the word hanging or hanger, cliffhanger. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. Or something about the letter H, or I don't know, Cancer, Pisces, Leo. I'm going to say that. I don't know if their name begins with an H or something like that. There could be a nice little connection, but there's more to meets the eye here. And I don't know if it is I don't think it's someone who's malicious, but I think they have some inner demons that they are wrestling with and struggling with. So it's almost like the universe is preparing you for a relationship that could be quite fun and enjoyable and cozy. But with that, there are some things that this person is struggling with that you cannot fix, and you cannot play rescuer in this relationship. You can love and support your person, but again, something about boundaries, of not running in to save them and rescue them every time, because ultimately you're going to assume this more parental role. So it could be addiction issues. I think for a majority of you, if this is making sense, there could be some secrets about drug dependency or alcohol abuse. I'm not sure what else, it could just be depression, anxiety, things of that sort. Yeah, for a lot of you, it could be that you're dealing with a person who has very high highs and very low lows. There's a term for that. Anyway, it's not coming to me, but so you have to be cautious that this person is in a good place where they are ready to date and operating at a high capacity, because I sort of get the idea that not catfish, but it's like you start connecting with someone and you may fall for them very quickly or catch feelings or be like, wow, I really like them. And then you see this other side of them come out and you're like, okay, I was not expecting that. It's not that they're mean or abusive to you, Virgo. It's just I'm trying to be sensitive, but it's like they come with a lot of baggage. They're still working through some very personal issues. So if you feel like there is a strong enough connection and you're willing to see them through as they continue to heal, fabulous, fantastic, right? We never are in perfect condition, in terms of, it's unrealistic to assume that we're coming from a perfect place. Operating at our highest level when we engage in romantic partnership, right? Every now and then we trip and stumble. And I think you kind of caught this person mid-stumble. It's just with the divine timing of when you happen to meet them. So I would take it as a sign that there's probably something that they're going to learn from you and vice versa. I don't know if this has long-term possibility because it's just simply not showing me, but I do sense that there's a strong connection here. This may also be a relationship where you decide you want to be friends with this person a little bit longer before you engage with them exclusively as a romantic partner. And for some of you, this sort of emotional trigger that sort of rears its ugly head, that may present itself the first time you guys are super intimate together. I don't know, but something about that, like more light is shown, more light is shed on some sort of subject or situation where I think they're willing to open up to you a little bit and sort of express some vulnerability, but you may sort of be taken aback and it may sort of put you in an uncomfortable position because I think you just need time to process it and figure out how you feel about it before you're forced to respond or choose a path, etc., etc. Let's see, there could be a Leo from the past who reaches out to you. You got some heavy messages, I'm not going to lie, Virgo. There could be a Leo who reaches out to you, but they're still a little bit broken, for lack of a better term. So I don't know if you broke up with them and they still have a lot of heartache and pain, or they're just coming from a place where they're stressed out, they're overburdened. I wish they were reaching back out like with transformed energy of like, hey, I really love you, let's start this again. But they're reaching out with like Five of Swords energy. So whoever did the breaking up, it seems a little bit, I don't know. There's a conflict of interest. That's the best way I can describe it. I don't know if it's like rebounding energy, but there's something that doesn't quite sit right with me here. Like again, with the High Priestess, I don't think there's some sort of secret or something that they're not telling you. It's not to say they're super deceptive and you need to be suspicious, but I don't know, maybe a little bit. I would be cautious and sort of really asking yourself if you want this person back in your life. I'm on the fence because I don't know what exactly is wrong, but something ain't quite right. That's the best way I can describe it. So take that as you will. And maybe some of you already know what the issue was there. It's possible that they're still, slaying their personal dragon or however you want to say it. All right, so then you have Eight of Swords to the World. I'm sorry, Virgo. I feel like my messages to you this time around are a little bit like, I don't know about that. I don't know about this either. I'm trying to, get some uplifting, positive stuff too. I mean, nothing here has been quote unquote bad, but I get it. It's much more palatable to hear the Cinderella stories, right? But unfortunately, if I don't see that, I can't make it up, right? I have an ethical code myself, right? So I got to give you the heavy messages in terms of what I see, as well as the good ones. All right, Eight of Swords to the World. Let's see what this is. There could be anxiety about meeting up with someone for the first time that you met on a dating app. I just sort of get this as first date jitters or first date nerves. It's being greeted with the Page of Cups, though, so I think it has some potential, but there's something about this person that you find very intimidating, or vice versa. This does feel very new to me. And it also feels like something that someone is like losing a little bit of sleep over. There could have been a misinterpretation or miscommunication, especially if you're communicating by text, especially in a dating app. Somebody may have said something and it's like in jest, it's their sense of humor, but the other person takes it very literally. So like until you meet up and get to know this person, and you can read a lot through like body language, right? I think that's going to relieve this person's tension in terms of not quite having a pulse on it or not being able to read things. I don't know. I think it will show up with more clarity, and there'll be a better sense of who this person is and how they meant that thing, or how they say things, how they deliver their jokes, their sense of humor, yada, yada, yada. Page of Cups looks okay to me. I think you have options maybe between a water sign and an air sign. And in this particular spread, I feel like there's more warmth with the air sign. I think you're a little bit baffled by the water sign right now. It's almost like what they say doesn't match their body language for the water sign. So I don't know if they're the ones who are nervous, or I don't know. I just get more that there's a difference of approach to dating and relationships. I don't know why, but I'm getting this very specific idea of someone who's like, yeah, I'm having a really fun time. Only their face reads like they're bored out of their mind. And the thing is, I don't think they're lying to you. It's the way they express themselves. You're like, what? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what that is. I honestly don't. So I'm not saying all the water signs you meet up with are going to be like that. In fact, there could be a connection with a Cancerian that looks very strong, but I don't think that's here yet. I think that's coming. There could be another connection, again, newish, dating app, online. There's like a lot of texting back and forth. When you meet up with them, it feels very blah. It just feels kind of okay. You can certainly choose to go on a second date and pursue it and see if things get warmer and more comfortable and better. But I think a lot of you are going to entertain the idea of your air sign or maybe earth sign. I don't know. I see there being more immediate success with air or earth. And then, interestingly enough, over here, you have the Queen of Wands. So there were a couple stories earlier that we told with the Queen of Wands in terms of like connecting with an ancestor or a spirit guide. That feels very nice, particularly a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, spirit guide, ancestor, someone in your family who's very connected to you. There may also be a fire sign coming in. Fire sign with maybe strong Capricorn. I don't know why I'm getting that. Or possibly another Virgo. So what would those cusp signs be? So it would be a Virgo Leo, or I'm sorry, I should say Leo Virgo. Someone who has maybe some planets in those, or let's see, maybe Sagittarius Capricorn. I don't know why that's coming through. This person may have done a lot of extensive traveling in foreign countries and foreign cities. They may have a different ethnic background than you. They may practice a different religion. They might just be very well versed and well traveled. And they may have, did I ever see an accent? They may have a different accent that you find very intriguing and sexy and romantic. What else or they may invite you on a trip too. They may just be maybe traveling through your area, possibly on business, or there's some reason why they ended up kind of in your radius. I don't know if you guys connect on a dating app, but it's possible they live at a distance from you, and so I don't know, it may end up being a long distance relationship if you choose to pursue it. Capricorn is coming through really strong on that one. Two of Swords. All right. So that's another message to me that like it happens very unexpectedly. Like you don't see it coming. And it could kind of be like love at first sight, or it feels like divinely guided. Like, what are the chances that we were both in this city at the same time, whatever, reading the same book. Now it's turning into like a fairy tale romance, right? But there's something very circumstantial or coincidental about this meeting or this connection where it's like you can't resist or deny looking into the idea of like fate and destiny. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that, particularly during Scorpio season. So that's, when I'm recording this, we're in Scorpio season now. So like October, 23rd-ish to November 20 something or other, right? Something about that time frame specifically. There could be like a little, we'll call it a meet cute, right? It kind of feels like that. I'm into it. And it could be a relationship that's very transformative. It could be a relationship where whatever the connection is, you bring out the best in each other, but you're also willing to examine the parts of you that maybe you're not so happy with. And rather than hiding it and burying it deep down, it's almost like this person shines a light on that for you and vice versa. And you're willing to work through the challenging stuff together. I actually really like that. And the significance of the full moon, I wish I could tell you exactly when that is. I know there's going to be a lunar eclipse on like the 28th. That's very soon. But there's also going to be a full moon in Gemini in like the coming couple weeks or month or so away. So look up that date. There might be something significant about that. Maybe someone's birthday falls on that date. What was the last thing I was going to say to you? Oh, something about like monster movies. I don't know why I'm getting that. I mean, I guess because, Scorpio season, Halloween, scary movies. But that might be a particularly interesting area of study or a hobby or a passion this person has. Like they may be doing research into horror movies and psychology or something just beyond like, yeah, I like to watch scary movies. Like there's something much more significant about like horror, mystery, suspense. I'm not sure what that is, but that's for you to find out. Okay, Virgo, that's your homework. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you very soon for more tarot. Bye.